Okay, Claude Monet. He was a Frenchman who painted paintings, which is something I've said in another video and is likely something I will say again. Toward the end of the 19th century, he had an idea, this Claude Monet, which was, hey, why don't I paint a bunch of haystacks over and over and over again for many, many months? And after having this idea, Mr. Monet did just that. So he carried all of his fancy art supplies out into a field somewhere in France and he started painting. But Mr. Monet was not like most painters. He was different. He was something special, meaning he didn't just go out into the field and paint a boring old haystack. What he did instead was he created some of the most recognizable works of art in human history, and he did it with nothing but some stacks of hay. It was like he was playing on the highest difficulty anybody could possibly imagine. It's like, imagine being tasked with creating not one single masterpiece, but many masterpieces. It's like this impossible task. I don't even know where I would begin, but I can say that for me personally, I think one of the last places I would begin as far as the subject for the paintings is concerned is with haystacks. I'm from rural Wisconsin, I've seen haystacks, and I know that haystacks are not exciting. But what is hay? What is a haystack? A haystack, for those that don't know, is just a pile of dead grass. It isn't anything exciting. It's boring. It's a miracle that more than a century has passed and people are still into these things, these paintings. So what I'm saying is, the guy who can make multiple masterpieces out of some piles of dead grass, he's all right in my book. He must be good, right? But the question still remains, how did this Claude Monet character manage to do this? How did he manage to be the first person in human history to make piles of dead grass culturally significant? The answer? Impressionism. Impressionism is a 19th century art movement that's characterized by open composition, whatever that means, small brush strokes, emphasis on accurate depiction of light in its changing qualities, and portrayal of the mundane, among other things. Basically, Impressionism is cool because it's different. It's weird, it's funky, it was blowing people's minds. So the little brush strokes, anytime anyone talks about Impressionism, they talk about light and little brush strokes. And I think they do that because it's what the style makes use of best. There is a visible size for blending in Impressionism, a low point, put more simply, and that's the size of a single brush stroke. Basically, what I'm saying is that the colors aren't blended perfectly the way they might be in a realist painting. And that's important because it offers the artist, in this case Claude Monet, a great opportunity for experimental lighting, and he wasn't the only impressionist. While in a realist painting, the blending of the colors might be at a scale that's below our ability to perceive, Impressionism allows us the opportunity to see what I'll call an atomized depiction of lighting. And this is really the reason why I'm so interested in Monet's paintings. But let's circle back to the question about the haystacks. Now that we've nailed down the strengths of Impressionism, or at least what makes Impressionism unique. And if you'll remember, the question was this: how did Claude Monet manage to be the first person in human history to make piles of dead grass culturally significant? The answer is Impressionism. The answer is Monet's unique style, his stylistic approach to painting. This painting of haystacks, for example, which is perhaps my favorite of them all. I will use this painting to assert my point. So basically, just to give you my in-depth analysis, we've got a bunch of colors here. We've got greens and blues and browns and reds and whites and pinks and yellows and oranges and purples. So many colors. That's my point. But now, let's imagine I were to ask you a question. If I were to say, yes, hello, my distinguished and highly intelligent viewer, what colors do you expect you might use to paint 2 stacks of hay that stand alone in a farm field? Now, I am no expert. I can't say for certain what colors you might tell me you'd use. Speaking from experience though, I will say this. I know for certain if I were to sit down with a blank canvas, unblended pinks and purples and blues and reds, whites, and all the others, none of these are likely to find their way into the painting's foreground. If I'm trying to paint a haystack, first place my mind goes, I'm thinking greens, browns, pretty much anything around there. And I think that's because, to put it simply, those aren't colors I would associate with grass, whether it is living or dead. I know that's a very surface level take, but trust me, I'm going somewhere with this. So again, while that might be a simple point to make, it says something significant about not only Monet's mastery of the art form, but really what I think great artists do more generally. Great artists, meaning artists who have mastered their craft, be the art form painting or poetry or photography or film, whatever. Great artists like Monet push the envelope. In this case, the envelope was realism. It was realistic depictions of epic stories and of lighting. And to me, the beauty of Monet's Haystacks rests in the simplicity of the paintings and kind of, I'll say in a similar vein, the disguised complexities. The subjects are haystacks. The subject is never something lofty. It's never some epic from antiquity. Monet finds beauty in the mundane. He finds beauty in what is easily overlooked. And this, I think, is what we can learn from studying his greatest masterpieces. You think about, most of the time, I don't know if you've ever seen a haystack before. I don't know who I'm talking to. I'm just kind of speaking into the void. If you've ever seen a haystack, you're driving down the highway or something. You're probably not even looking twice at it. And why? Because haystacks are boring, except when Monet does them. And that's important. That's why we're doing this video. There is a ridiculous amount of beauty right in front of us. Every second we have our eyes open. And it is perhaps only due to a lack of dedicated attention that we don't notice this intrinsic beauty more often. But deeper than that is the beauty we can't see when we step away from Monet's paintings. It isn't all that often that we're reminded about our perceptual limitations during our day-to-day experiences, but Monet's work offers us this opportunity. So again, what do I see when I look at a haystack? I see hay. I see grass that is dead and grass that is dry. I see some green, I see some yellow and some brown and this and that color, whatever, but I'm not aware of all of the different colors that comprise what I describe simply as green or brown. And the point of me saying that is this: Monet's haystacks show us what virtually all art tries to show or aims to do. And that's that there's beauty all around us, beauty that we're unaware of, beauty that we might have never considered were it not for the work or works of art the artist has put in front of us. Again, I can't see all of the changing qualities of light that might make up whatever it is I'm looking at in the real world. But it's Monet's artistic approach that makes me aware of an incredible blind spot that I, and I'm sure most, if not all of you, live with every day without a second thought. The truth is, though, that light is complicated. It is so much more than what meets the eye. It's a spectrum, it's a multiplicity, and if something as fundamental as light is not what it appears to be, what else might we be missing day in and day out? And to some extent that's kind of a silly question to ask, but at the same time I think it really means something. If we have this perceptual limitation, this blind spot for something as fundamental as light, what else do we miss? So, in closing, I'll say this, I think Monet's Haystacks are great works of art because they suggest that beauty is a matter of paying attention. If we can pay attention to something long enough, then all these little intricacies, all these small movements and the little pieces that make up the whole, they come together and they show us something beautiful, something that at a glance we might miss. And I think this is an idea that can improve the quality of our lives. Everything is not what it seems. So maybe we should slow down sometimes. Maybe we should look more closely and consider all of the little things we could not and perhaps cannot see at first glance. And I think this idea of slowing down to pay closer attention is a life skill. And what's interesting about that is that it's a life skill that can be rehearsed by just paying attention to a painting. Because at the end of the day, what makes it a life skill is the extent to which we have to kind of deploy our attention, our focus, to extract meaning from something. In this case, a painting of haystacks. And I think that when we do that, we're practicing a skill that is likely to follow us regardless of whether or not we're looking at the painting or we've stepped away from the painting. But okay, that is everything that I've got. If you enjoyed this video, my friends and I ask that you please hit that like button, please hit that subscribe button, and please let us know what you think about Monet and Impressionism and painting more generally in the comment section down below. This is a small channel, but all we need to grow is a little bit of fresh air, a little bit of sunlight, and a little bit of water. So please like, comment, and subscribe. And I also want to thank you, my wonderful viewer, for sticking with me to the end of this video. I can't tell you how much I appreciate the fact that you're willing to give some of your time to this channel. So I hope you will come back for more at some point. I hope you subscribe, I hope you like, I hope you comment. But now it is really time to wrap things up. So thanks again, everyone. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I will see you